This will be the year of the Biden Republicans. You can see the Biden campaign with John Kasich, Cindy McCain, Colin Powell et al. Made a direct appeal to them.
Yeah, that's Rahm Emanuel, who just won't seem to go away. He was a failure as mayor in Chicago. He's a failure now as a commentator that no one wants to hear from. But what he's trying to do in this interview, and also in a Wall Street Journal op-ed that he penned, is push the Biden campaign further to the right to appeal to never Trump Republicans, who, by the way, already support him. It's just that Rahm Emanuel wants them to be a mainstay within the Democratic Party. Let's watch.
Donald Trump's got depth. He has his 41%. He drills down hard on them. He hasn't grown it all, but he's trying to energize that base and keep it really mobilized. Joe Biden's got breadth. He's got 4-star generals on one end and Black Lives protesters on the other end. That is a very broad coalition. And if with a concentration, not only through the election, but governing, you can take Biden Republicans who do not like the anti-science, do not like the anti-diversity, the hostility to other that comes out of the Republican Party, culturally move them into a comfort zone where they're more self-identified with the Democratic Party than the Republican Party. That's what the Reagan Democrats did starting in '80, and it evolved over time. But you have to have not only an electoral strategy, but as well as a governing strategy to see that as an opportunity. And my view is you don't want this to be a transactional election. You want this to be the opportunity of a transformational election.
No, we don't want that. Why would we want two of the same party? I mean, we're already pretty close to that as it is. But to think of this as a transformational election where the Democratic Party is essentially so far to the right that they're representative of what Republicans were like during the Bush era, which was horrendous, is just not a good sign for America. It really isn't. And it certainly isn't a good sign when it comes to the progressive policies, not just the progressive policies that we'd like to see, literally the progressive policies that this country desperately needs just to survive. Right. I mean, Aida, that video was bad. The next one we're about to show is worse, but I wanted to get your thoughts on what Rahm Emanuel said there.
You know, Rahm Emanuel can go eat a penis. I'll say it here. And I just tell you, I got 2 words for you, Laquan McDonald. When I think about, I'm sorry, I've reached my point of, you know what really bothered me when he was said that the Black Lives Matter protesters, the presumption that they have the black vote for Joe Biden. Like it is, like you said, the parties are pretty similar right now. What we're fighting in this country is a class war, and unfortunately for us, that reaches across the board with both political parties. So no, what we need to do is stop being so nice, stop trying to be always so moral and corrupt and correct. And we need to get down and dirty and fight for our livelihood, because this performative morality and performative correctness that so many liberals are participating in is hurting the country. It's hurting the people, because the people on the other side don't have any shame. They don't have any morality. They double down for what they believe in. And actually, they don't believe in anything. They believe in the almighty dollar. So while we're sitting here having these conversations of how we're gonna appeal to people who don't give a damn about us in the first place, why? They don't care about us. Why do you want to appeal to people who don't see you as human? Woman, black person, brown person, gay person, trans person. They don't want you to go to a bathroom. They don't want you to get married. Why do you need to appeal to those people? This is why I break with everybody on this. No, hell no. What we need to do is push it further to the left, because we're fighting for basic humanity at this point. And they're telling us, because they're rich and they're not affected by the everyday ills that we're affected by, lay down your survival and lay down the priorities of your everyday basic needs so that you can appeal to people who don't see you anyway. Get out of here, man. Kick rocks.
Yes, yes. And look, Rahm Emanuel had no problem singling out some of the most important policy that would improve this country and honestly make it livable for people. So let's take a listen to what he had to say about that.
I have two things I would say if I was advising on an administration. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. You got this thing called an election beforehand. We still believe in democracy. But one is there's no new Green Deal. There's no Medicare for all. Probably the single two topics that were discussed the most. That's not even in the platform. Joe Biden has been very specific about the direction he wants to take. And from a political strategy, developing a policy both that solves the problems, number one, but then builds the cohesion of that coalition. I would have progressive ends with moderate means. And I think that's a way you make sure that you keep this coalition from ever tipping too far either way.
Man, first of all, the smug way he started that answer in basically trying to explain, like insulting people's intelligence. Like, first of all, we have an election, and what he's saying there is, be cool, be cool. You don't want to turn anyone off. You don't want to, upset any particular group. You want to, do the balancing act of not losing progressive voters while also appealing to Bush era Republicans who can't stand Donald Trump. But he mentions Medicare for all, the Green New Deal. And it's just lip service. It's lip service from the establishment Democrats, for lack of a better phrase. I know that phrase has become so cliche, but it's true. I mean, that whole progressive task force within, Biden's campaign, nonsense. It was nothing. It was nothing. It was all for show. And I mean, when you really go back to when Obama first started campaigning in 2007, his whole slogan was hope and change. And yes, we can. Si se puede. Yes, we can change things. Yes. What were we going to change things again from? Oh yeah, from the Bush era when things were awful, when the economy was destroyed, when we entered endless wars that we're still fighting today, losing endless lives and resources fighting in. We were supposed to change from that. And now we've come, we barely even moved away from that. And now we've really come full circle where we're embracing the Bill Kristols of the world. We're embracing George Conway. Oh, George Conway. Oh, what a tough guy. He has some negative things to say about Trump. I don't care. George Conway, garbage. Bill Kristol, garbage. The people who run the Lincoln Project, they might make good ads. Garbage, garbage. They are not representative of what people in this country need and what they want. And even recent polling shows that the majority of Americans want Medicare for all. I mean, Rahm Emanuel's talking about it as if it's some sort of toxic, terrible policy to discuss during a campaign. Let's look at this poll from The Hill and Harris. They found that 69% of Americans overall, 69%, fun number, support Medicare for all, okay? I mean, only 31% oppose Medicare for all. These are numbers that include Republican voters. But it doesn't matter. They'll keep gaslighting us and they'll keep telling us that what we need to survive in this country is not something that the majority of Americans want. That's a lie. That's just a flat lie. Poll after poll shows that the majority of Americans want single-payer healthcare in this country. And in a system where we've legalized bribery, a public option just isn't enough. It'll be underfunded. It'll be dismantled because private insurance companies have a vested interest to dismantle it. Of course they do. All they got to do is pay up. And the politicians will do whatever it takes as long as they're getting paid, as long as that legalized bribery stays in place. Yeah, Rahm Emanuel can eat a big one. You're right.
Because let me tell you something. This always petting the American people, stoking their fears, and then patting them into submission for what's not in their best interest. You know what I'm tired of, though? I'm tired of failed politicians being handed a microphone to become advisors and give their opinion on how to run something successful when they couldn't do it in the first place. And when you look at these platforms and you see everybody who loses a job from Corey Landon, whatever his name was, who likes to beat women or push women, to everybody who leaves the administration or anybody who's failed. Hey, you want to come talk on our show and tell the American people how we do this? Why? Why are we not looking towards people who are successful at what they're doing? You don't want to hand AOC the mic because AOC is constantly dropping the mic on y'all asses, right? So you're gonna keep, why are we talking? Why are we listening to what he has to say while he is insulting us? He's being condescending, being snarky, being smug, and wrong as hell. We are constantly being told that we don't need the things to survive. But what we do need is to keep making those people that are rich richer. Miss me with that, man. Get out of here.
It's just so frustrating. You're right. They always get, contributor roles at CNN or whatever cable news channel. They fail upward. Because once you're willing to sacrifice your principles, your morals, and be a cheerleader for a corrupt system, there's endless opportunities for you. Endless. Rahm Emanuel was a disaster in Chicago. Disaster.
Yes.
Horrible. And yeah, he's just failing his way upward.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.